A teacher helps her son, but she didn't know that someone very powerful was watching her from a distance. What happened moments later was unbelievable. Welcome back and enjoy the story. The school cafeteria was nearly empty on that rainy afternoon. Few children remained, most scattered throughout the hallways. Sitting alone at one of the tables in the farthest corner, Donna, a 37-year-old teacher, watched her 9-year-old son while he joyfully devoured a simple sandwich. She pretended to be calm, but inside, she felt the crushing weight of hunger, failure, and humiliation. She hadn't eaten properly in days. Her clothes hung loosely, not by style but by necessity. Donna had always been passionate about teaching, but the past few years had been cruel. After losing her husband in an accident, she was forced to move to Chicago and accept the only job she could get, teaching at a school where respect for teachers was almost non-existent. The Chicago skyline, visible from her classroom window, seemed to mock her dreams with its towering success, while she struggled to keep her head above water. Beyond the exhausting workload, Donna faced contemptuous looks from more senior colleagues and venomous comments from influential parents who accused her of not being good enough for their children. In the teacher's lounge, she was ignored. Sometimes she heard muffled giggles when she left, but the worst was inside her. The constant feeling of failure, the guilt of not being able to give her son, Max, even a minimally comfortable life, the shame of having accepted help from the principal to buy school supplies. Donna was on the verge of breakdown. That afternoon, the last before her delayed paycheck would arrive, if it arrived at all, she had used the coins from the bottom of her purse to buy her son's snack. For herself, there was only a cup of water and an empty stomach. She watched Max's innocent joy as he ate, unaware of their dire circumstances. Tears welled in her eyes as she thought about the unpaid bills piling up in their small apartment, the electricity notice threatening disconnection, and the growing hole in Max's only pair of school shoes. From across the cafeteria, a well-dressed man observed. It wasn't the first time he had seen this thin woman, with dark circles under her eyes that hid chronic sadness. But it was on that afternoon that he noticed something different, a tear discreetly sliding down Donna's cheek, while her son smiled, oblivious to the world. The rain intensified outside, creating a somber soundtrack to Donna's quiet desperation. She didn't notice the man watching, didn't see his thoughtful expression or the way his eyes moved between her and her son. She was lost in her own thoughts, calculating if they could make it through the weekend with what little food remained at home, wondering if she could borrow money yet again from the already exhausted goodwill of her few friends. As Max finished his sandwich, licking the crumbs from his fingers with childish satisfaction, Donna's heart both swelled with love and constricted with worry. How much longer could she keep up this facade of normalcy? How many more nights would she lie awake, terrified of what the future held for them? The weight of single parenthood, poverty, and professional humiliation threatened to crush her entirely. She didn't know it yet, but the well-dressed man across the room was about to change everything. The well-dressed man, Edward Thompson, was no ordinary visitor to Lincoln Elementary School. At 52, with salt and pepper hair and eyes that carried both kindness and calculation, Edward had built his fortune from nothing. The son of a factory worker from the south side of Chicago, he had clawed his way through scholarships, worked 3 jobs through college, and eventually created an educational technology company worth billions. Few knew his humble beginnings. Most saw only the polished exterior of success. He approached slowly, giving Donna time to notice him. She stiffened, as if already expecting some humiliation disguised as kindness. Too many times before, seemingly, friendly faces had hidden cruel intentions. "Excuse me for interrupting," he said, his voice soft but assured. "I've noticed how you care for your son, and I wanted to ask you something. Are you a parent of one of the students?" she asked, trying to maintain her composure, while discreetly wiping away her tears. "Something like that. I'm an education investor, and I'm here because something about you caught my attention." She was immediately suspicious. It wasn't the first time someone had appeared promising worlds and delivering nothing. She had been deceived by a scholarship agency that demanded documents and delivered nothing. Then there was the time a co-worker promised to help her with an opportunity, but used her vulnerability to embarrass her, and later spread rumors throughout the school. "With all due respect, I don't need charity," she said, her voice barely hiding the tremor of pride that cost her so much to maintain. "It's not charity," he replied calmly. "It's a choice. I saw potential in your son, and I saw strength in you." Max looked up curiously, his chocolate-smeared face suddenly interested in the adult conversation. Donna placed a protective hand on his shoulder, a gesture not lost on Edward. "Mom, who's that?" Max whispered, loud enough for Edward to hear. "Just someone visiting the school, honey." "Finish your juice," she replied, never taking her eyes off the stranger. Edward pulled a golden card from his pocket and placed it on the table. It gleamed under the fluorescent cafeteria lights, embossed with the name of Lakeside Academy, the most prestigious private school in Chicago. "He's earned a full scholarship, all paid for, the best school in the region. Uniform, transportation, meals, everything included." Donna hesitated. Her heart wanted to believe. Her mind screamed not to fall into another trap. She gripped the card tightly, as if testing if it was real. "I've heard too many promises." "Then don't believe me. Now, go to the school tomorrow. Everything is in the system. You only need to say his name." Donna sat there motionless until the man walked away. Max tugged at her sleeve, curious about what had just happened, but she could barely form words to explain. The golden card seemed to burn in her hand, a beacon of impossible hope. That evening in their tiny apartment, Donna tucked Max into bed with stories of adventure and possibility, tales she herself could barely believe in anymore. After he fell asleep, she sat at their rickety kitchen table, staring at the golden card, turning it over and over in her hands. Could this be real, or would tomorrow bring another crushing disappointment? If you are enjoying the story, type 5 in the comments and subscribe for more videos like this. If not, type 0. It helps me create even better content for you. Continuing. Morning came with tentative hope. Donna had barely slept, her mind racing between cynical doubt and desperate optimism. She prepared Max for school as usual, saying nothing about yesterday's encounter or the possibility that awaited them. She couldn't bear to raise his hopes, only to watch them crumble. After dropping Max at Lincoln Elementary, she clutched the golden card in her pocket and took 3 buses across Chicago to reach Lakeside Academy. The journey itself was a stark reminder of the divide in their city, from the struggling neighborhoods she knew to the tree-lined streets of affluence where the academy stood. Lakeside Academy rose before her like something from another world. Red brick buildings with ivy climbing the walls, expansive green lawns, and a sense of history and privilege that seemed impenetrable. Students in crisp uniforms moved between classes, their voices carrying the confident cadence of those who had never known want. Donna hesitated at the imposing front gates, feeling acutely out of place in her worn clothes and scuffed shoes. A security guard eyed her with undisguised suspicion. "Can I help you?" he asked, his tone making it clear she didn't belong. She swallowed hard. "I have an appointment," she lied, pulling out the golden card, "regarding a scholarship." The guard's demeanor changed instantly upon seeing the card. "Of course. Please. Head to the administration building straight ahead." Inside the gleaming administration building, with its polished floors and oak paneling, Donna felt even more like an intruder. The secretary behind the desk, Francine Wells, according to her nameplate, looked up with practiced politeness. "I'm here about my son," Donna said, her voice smaller than she intended. "Max Wilson. I was told he has a scholarship." She expected confusion, perhaps even laughter. Instead, Francine's eyes widened with recognition. "Mrs. Wilson, we've been expecting you. Mr. Thompson called personally to inform us you'd be visiting. Please have a seat. The headmaster wants to meet with you right away." Donna sank into a plush chair, stunned. This was real. Somehow, impossibly, this was real. Headmaster Phillips, a distinguished man with kind eyes, welcomed her into his office minutes later. On his desk lay a folder with Max's name. "Mrs. Wilson, we're delighted to welcome Max to Lakeside Academy. Every year we offer a few exceptional full scholarships based on potential and need. Your son has been selected for one of our most comprehensive packages. He slid paperwork across the desk. Admission forms, uniform measurements, transportation, arrangements. Not just for show, but genuine official documents. I don't understand, Donna stuttered. How did Mr. Thompson even know about my son? The headmaster smiled. Mr. Thompson is one of our most valued benefactors. He has an eye for identifying promising students who might otherwise never reach their potential due to circumstances beyond their control. Your son caught his attention, and Mr. Thompson's recommendations are given the utmost consideration. As Headmaster Phillips explained the details of Max's scholarship, Donna's disbelief slowly gave way to overwhelming gratitude. Full tuition through high school graduation, books, supplies, uniforms, extracurricular activities, all covered. Even a meal plan that ensured Max would never go hungry. When she finally left Lakeside Academy, clutching a folder filled with documents, welcome packets, and a school calendar, Donna found herself weeping openly on the bus ride home. They weren't tears of sadness, but of profound relief, a rare moment of grace in a life that had shown her little kindness. That evening, she sat Max down and told him everything. His eyes grew wide with excitement and confusion. "We're leaving. Lincoln, but what about my friends? What about you, Mom? Will you come to the new school too?" Donna hugged him close. "I'll still be teaching at Lincoln, sweetie, but this is an amazing opportunity for you, the kind that can change everything." "But I like our school," he protested, his 9-year-old mind unable to grasp the magnitude of what was being offered. "I know, honey, and you can still see your friends outside of school, but at Lakeside, you'll learn things I can only dream of teaching you. You'll have opportunities I never had." Max considered this, his young face serious with concentration. "Will I have to wear one of those scratchy uniforms with a tie?" Donna laughed, really laughed, for what felt like the first time in years. "Yes, you will, and you'll look very handsome." He wrinkled his nose but didn't protest further. Instead, he asked the question that revealed his true worry. "Will the kids there like me?" "Even though we don't have a big house." Donna's heart broke a little, even as it swelled with love for her perceptive son. "The right friends will like you for who you are, not what you have. And you, Maxwell Wilson, are pretty amazing." That night, after Max had fallen asleep, Donna sat by their apartment window, looking out at the Chicago skyline glittering in the distance. For the first time in years, those distant lights didn't mock her with their inaccessibility. Instead, they seemed to offer a promise that perhaps, just perhaps, her son might one day claim his place among them. Max's first day at Lakeside Academy arrived with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. Donna had spent the previous evening pressing his new uniform to perfection, though she worried the other children would somehow still sense he didn't belong. Max himself wavered between enthusiasm about the science lab he'd heard about and fear of the unknown. The morning was a flurry of last-minute preparations, straightening his tie, checking his backpack twice, making sure he had memorized his teacher's name and classroom number. The car service arranged by the school arrived precisely on time, another surreal aspect of their new reality. "Remember to be respectful, and don't be afraid to ask questions if you don't understand something," Donna advised, as they stood before the impressive entrance of Lakeside Academy. She straightened his collar nervously. "And remember, no matter what happens, I'm so proud of you." Max nodded solemnly, then surprised her with a fierce hug. "I'll make you proud, Mom. I promise." As he walked through those imposing doors, looking impossibly small in his new uniform, Donna felt a complex tangle of emotions, pride and hope interwoven with a sharp thread of fear. Would this world accept him? Or would it merely teach him how cruel privilege could be to outsiders? Her own day at Lincoln Elementary proved equally challenging. Rumors had already begun to circulate about Max's mysterious transfer to an elite, private school. The principal, Dr. Harris, called her into his office before classes began. "So, Wilson, I hear your son has been accepted to Lakeside Academy," he said, his tone neutral but his eyes calculating. "Quite the opportunity. May I ask how this came about?" Donna explained as best she could without revealing too much. She didn't fully understand it herself, after all. "Well, it's unusual, but congratulations," Dr. Harris said finally. "Though I must say we'll miss having Max here. He was one of our brightest students. The subtext was clear. How had someone like her managed to secure such an opportunity? What connections did she have that she'd been hiding? The speculation followed. Her through the hallways, whispered between other teachers, passed along insignificant glances. By lunchtime, Donna felt the full weight of her colleagues' curiosity and suspicion. In the teacher's lounge, conversation stopped abruptly when she entered. Her closest thing to a friend at the school, Gina Parker, finally approached. "Is it true about Max going to Lakeside?" Gina asked. "That's like winning the lottery." "It's true," Donna confirmed. "He received a scholarship." "Just like that? Those scholarships are nearly impossible to get. You have to know someone." The implication hung in the air. Donna merely shrugged, unwilling to explain further. By afternoon, the whispers had transformed into wilder speculation. She heard one teacher suggest to another that perhaps Donna was involved with a wealthy donor. Another wondered aloud if she had dirt on someone important. The cruelty was casual, reflexive, a reminder of how precarious her position had always been. When the final bell rang, Donna practically ran from the building, desperate to escape the suffocating atmosphere of innuendo and judgment. She reached Lakeside Academy early, anxiously waiting outside the gates for the students to emerge. Max came bounding out, his tie askew and his face alight with excitement. The transformation from that morning's nervousness was complete. "Mom, they have a real laboratory with microscopes and everything. And the library has books from floor to ceiling. And at lunch they had 3 different kinds of fruit." His enthusiasm washed over her like a cleansing wave, temporarily washing away the day's bitterness. This, she reminded herself, was why she would endure anything. The whispers, the suspicion, the judgment. For him, for his future. As they walked to the bus stop together, Max chattering about his new teacher and classmates, Donna felt a moment of pure, uncomplicated happiness. Whatever came next, whatever price she would pay for this opportunity, seeing her son thrive would make it worthwhile. But even as she basked in Max's happiness, a dark shadow of doubt crept into her thoughts. Why had Edward Thompson really chosen them? What did he want in return? In her experience, nothing came without a cost. And the greater the gift, the steeper the price eventually demanded. Despite her best efforts to focus on the present moment, on Max's animated description of the school's computer lab, Donna couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking a tightrope without a safety net. One wrong move, one misplaced word, and everything could come crashing down around them. What would happen when the other shoe finally dropped? Would they survive the fall? Will Max find true acceptance among his privileged new peers? Or will the stark differences in their backgrounds create painful barriers? And what is Edward Thompson's true motivation for his unexpected generosity? The answers may surprise everyone involved. The next few weeks brought a whirlwind of changes. Max adapted to Lakeside Academy with remarkable resilience, throwing himself into every opportunity with enthusiasm. He joined the science club, signed up for piano lessons, included in his scholarship, and even made a few tentative friendships. For Donna, however, life became increasingly complicated. At Lincoln Elementary, the atmosphere grew more hostile as rumors and speculation about Max's scholarship intensified. Several parents requested that their children be moved from her class, citing vague concerns about her professional focus. Dr. Harris, while not overtly unkind, did nothing to dispel the gossip. If anything, his pointed questions about her connection to Lakeside Academy seemed designed to fan the flames. "I've been meaning to ask, Donna," he said during a particularly uncomfortable evaluation meeting. "How exactly did Max come to the attention of Lakeside's benefactors? It's quite unusual for them to reach out directly to a student from our demographic." The implication was clear, and it stung. "My son is exceptionally bright, Dr. Harris. His test scores and aptitude speak for themselves." Of course, he backpedaled smoothly. "I just wonder if there might be a way to forge a more formal relationship between our schools. For other deserving students, you understand." Donna understood perfectly. Dr. Harris was fishing for her connection, hoping to capitalize on it for his own advancement. She murmured something non-committal and escaped as quickly as possible. At home, she and Max settled into new routines. The car service picked him up each morning and returned him each afternoon. His homework was challenging, but he attacked it with determination, often working late into the evening on projects that fascinated him. Donna found herself learning alongside him, helping where she could, and marveling at what he was being taught. 3 weeks after Max started at Lakeside, Donna received an unexpected call from the school. Her heart immediately raced with anxiety. Had something gone wrong? Was Max in trouble? Had they discovered some reason to revoke his scholarship? "Mrs. Wilson, this is Jennifer Blackwood, Max's science teacher at Lakeside. I'm calling because I wanted to discuss your son's progress." Donna braced herself. "Is everything all right?" "Everything is excellent, actually. Max has shown remarkable aptitude in our environmental science unit. His project on urban water conservation was outstanding. College-level work, honestly. I'm calling to ask if you'd permit him to enter it in the regional Young Scientists competition." Relief and pride washed over Donna. "Of course, yes." He'd be thrilled. "Wonderful. The competition does require parental attendance. It's at Northwestern University on Saturday, May 15th. Will that be possible for you?" Donna mentally reviewed her calendar. She had picked up weekend tutoring jobs to make ends meet, but she could certainly reschedule for something this important. "Absolutely, I wouldn't miss it." After hanging up, Donna sat in stunned silence. This was happening. Max wasn't just surviving at Lakeside, he was thriving. The opportunity Edward Thompson had provided was already bearing fruit in ways she couldn't have imagined. That evening, when she told Max about the competition, his initial reaction surprised. "But Mom, that's for smart kids." "You are a smart kid, Max." He looked down at his hands. "The other kids? Some of them say I only got into Lakeside because someone felt sorry for us, that I don't really belong there." Donna felt a surge of protective anger. "Who said that?" "Just some kids, not my friends," he added quickly. "But what if they're right? What if I'm not good enough?" Donna knelt before him, taking his small hands in hers. "Maxwell Wilson, listen to me. You belong at that school every bit as much as any other student. Your mind, your heart, your hard work, those are what matter, not where we live or how much money we have. But no buts. You earned this opportunity, and now you get to show everyone exactly why you deserve it." She squeezed his hands. "Do you want to enter your project in the competition?" After a moment's hesitation, he nodded, a spark of determination igniting in his eyes. "I do, and I want to make it even better before then." Over the next few weeks, Max threw himself into refining his project with renewed purpose. Donna watched, with a mixture of pride and amazement as he worked, occasionally offering suggestions, but mostly marveling at his growing confidence and expertise. The morning of the competition arrived crisp and clear. Donna had spent her last bit of savings on a new dress for the occasion, nothing fancy but presentable enough that Max wouldn't feel embarrassed by her appearance among the affluent. Parents who would undoubtedly be there. As they entered the university's science building, Donna felt the familiar weight of insecurity. The other parents moved with easy confidence through the space, greeting each other like old friends, dressed in clothes that casually signaled their social standing. But when she glanced at Max, setting up his project with careful precision, his face set in concentration. Her insecurities seemed suddenly petty and unimportant. This was his moment, and she would not let her own fears diminish it. While helping Max arrange his display, Donna heard a familiar voice behind her. "Mrs. Wilson, a pleasure to see you again." She turned to find Edward Thompson standing there, impeccably dressed as before, regarding Max's project with genuine interest. "Mr. Thompson," she said, unable to hide her surprise, "I didn't expect to see you here." "I make it a point to follow the progress of my investments," he replied with a smile that softened the business-like statement. "And from what I've heard, your son's project is generating quite a buzz among the judges." Max looked up, suddenly recognizing the man from that day in the cafeteria. "You're the one who gave me the scholarship," he said with directness only a child could manage. Edward nodded. "I am, and it seems my judgment was sound. May I?" He gestured toward the project. Max eagerly launched into an explanation of his urban water conservation system, complete with a working model and detailed statistics on potential water savings. Edward listened with genuine attention, asking thoughtful questions that Max answered with growing confidence. Watching them, Donna felt a complex emotion she couldn't immediately identify. It was only later that she recognized it. Hope. Not the desperate clinging hope that had sustained her through their darkest days, but something stronger, more substantial. The kind of hope that builds foundations rather than merely keeping one afloat. As other competitors and judges began to circulate, Edward stepped back. "I should let you prepare for the judging," he said to Max. Then, turning to Donna, "You should be very proud, Mrs. Wilson. Talent like this doesn't come from nowhere. It's nurtured." Before she could respond, he moved away, disappearing into the crowd. But his words lingered, a rare acknowledgement of her own role in Max's success. The competition proceeded with a formality that initially intimidated both Donna and Max. Judges moved from project to project, asking probing questions and making notations on clipboards. Max's confidence wavered visibly when faced with a particularly stern judge, but Donna caught his eye and gave him an encouraging nod. He straightened his shoulders and proceeded to answer with clarity and conviction. When the results were announced, Max didn't win first place. He came in third, an extraordinary achievement for a 9-year-old competing against students as old as 14. The pride on his face as he accepted his bronze medal was something Donna knew she would remember forever. "Mom, did you see? I got third place," he exclaimed, rushing back to her with his medal clutched tightly. "I saw, sweetheart. I am so proud of you." She hugged him fiercely. "Do you think Dad would have been proud too?" he asked quietly. The question caught her off guard. Max rarely spoke of his father anymore. He would have been bursting. With pride, she assured him, blinking back sudden tears. Absolutely bursting. As they gathered Max's project materials to head home, Donna noticed Edward Thompson watching them from across the room. He gave a small nod of acknowledgement before turning to leave. No further words were exchanged, but something had shifted. Her mutual respect had been established, however tentative. On the bus ride home, with Max dozing against her shoulder, exhausted from the emotional day, Donna reflected on how much had changed in such a short time. The scholarship had opened doors she hadn't even known existed, but more importantly, it had shown Max and reminded her of what was possible. That knowledge, she realized, was perhaps the most valuable gift of all. The success at tea. The science competition marked a turning point for Max at Lakeside Academy. His bronze medal earned him a new level of respect from classmates, and even some of the teachers began to view him differently, no longer as a charity case, but as a student of genuine promise. For Donna, however, life at Lincoln Elementary grew increasingly unbearable. The contrast between her son's thriving academic environment and her own toxic workplace became more stark with each passing day. Her colleagues, with few exceptions, had moved from subtle exclusion to outright hostility, convinced she had somehow manipulated her way into special treatment for Max. Gina Parker, who had initially seemed supportive, cornered Donna in the empty teacher's lounge one afternoon. "You know, people are saying all kinds of things about how Max got into Lakeside," she said, her tone falsely casual. "Some pretty ugly rumors." Donna continued making her tea, refusing to engage. "People always talk. It doesn't make what they say true." "I defended you," Gina continued. "Told them you wouldn't do anything of inappropriate to get your son ahead, but then I started wondering myself. It is strange, Donna. A full scholarship out of nowhere. A mysterious benefactor. You have to admit it looks suspicious." Donna set down her mug with deliberate care, fighting to control her anger. "What exactly are you implying, Gina?" "I'm not implying anything, just repeating what everyone's saying. That maybe you and this rich investor have some kind of arrangement." The accusation hung in the air, ugly and explicit. Donna felt her cheeks flame with anger and humiliation. "My son earned that scholarship with his intelligence and potential," she said, her voice low and controlled despite the fury coursing through her. "The only arrangement is that a successful person recognized his abilities and chose to invest in his future. Something you and the others here were too blind or too cruel to do. Gina's eyes widened at Donna's uncharacteristic directness. I'm just looking out for you as a friend. We are not friends, Donna interrupted. Friends don't spread malicious gossip. Friends don't question a child's legitimate achievements because they can't believe he might simply deserve them. She gathered her things and walked out, leaving her tea untouched. In the hallway, she nearly collided with Dr. Harris, who had clearly been listening to the exchange. Mrs. Wilson, he said, his tone falsely sympathetic. I couldn't help overhearing. Perhaps we should discuss this situation in my office. There's nothing to discuss, Donna replied firmly. My personal life and my son's education are not subjects for school gossip. Dr. Harris's face hardened. When they affect the professional atmosphere of this school, they become my concern. There have been complaints, Donna, parents questioning whether someone with your judgment should be teaching their children. The threat was thinly veiled, but clear. Donna felt a cold knot of fear in her stomach. She couldn't afford to lose this job, meager as it was. Without it, how would she cover their rent, their food? Max's scholarship covered his education, but not their survival. My teaching has never been in question, she said, fighting to keep her voice steady. My evaluations have been exemplary. Evaluations can be revisited, Dr. Harris replied smoothly. Professional standards include conduct outside the classroom. Donna felt trapped, cornered by innuendo and threats she could neither fight nor escape. For Max's sake, she swallowed her pride. I understand your concerns, Dr. Harris. I assure you, there has been no impropriety whatsoever. Max's scholarship was based solely on merit. He studied her for a long moment, clearly unsatisfied with her response but unable to find concrete grounds for discipline. See that it stays that way, he said finally, before walking away. That evening, as Donna helped Max with his homework, her mind raced with contingency plans. If she lost her job, where would they go? Who could they turn to? The lease on their apartment was month to month, but even the cheapest alternative would require first and last month's rent that she simply didn't have. Mom, did you hear me? Max's voice broke through her worried thoughts. I'm sorry, sweetie, what did you say? I asked if you could help me with this essay. We're supposed to write about someone we admire, and I'm writing about Dad. Donna's heart contracted painfully. Of course I'll help. What do you want to know about him? Was he brave? The kids at school talk about their dads being brave. She thought of David, her late husband, his quiet determination, his unfailing kindness, his steadfast support through her teaching certification and early career struggles. Your father was the bravest man I've ever known, she said softly. Not because he did flashy, dangerous things, but because he faced each day with courage and kindness, even when things were hard. Max nodded thoughtfully, absorbing her words. I wish he could see me at Lakeside. He can see you, Donna assured him, her own eyes filling with tears, and he's incredibly proud of you. As Max returned to his essay, Donna found herself wondering what David would advise her to do now. The situation at Lincoln was clearly untenable, but she had nowhere else to go, no other prospects. For Max's sake, she had to endure, had to find a way to weather the storm of gossip and suspicion until what? Until some magical solution presented itself? Her desperate thoughts were interrupted by a knock at the door. Wary after the day's confrontations, she approached cautiously, peering through the peephole. A courier stood outside, holding an envelope. Delivery for Donna Wilson, he announced when she opened the door. Inside the envelope was an invitation, elegantly embossed, formally worded, to a fundraising gala for Lakeside Academy's scholarship program. A handwritten note was paperclipped to the invitation. Your presence would be valued. E.T. Edward Thompson, inviting her to a gala that would undoubtedly be attended by Chicago's elite, including her in a world she had never belonged to. Why? The question plagued her as she prepared for bed that night, long after Max had fallen asleep. What did Edward Thompson want from her? Was this a genuine inclusion or some elaborate game? And if she attended, would she be playing into the very rumors she had so vehemently denied? Sleep eluded her as she tossed and turned, weighing her options. By morning she had made her decision. She would attend the gala. Not for herself, not even for Edward Thompson's mysterious motives, but for Max, to show him that she wouldn't shrink from opportunity out of fear or insecurity, to demonstrate by example the very courage she had praised in his father. As the week progressed, Donna found herself facing new challenges. What would she wear to such an event? How would she navigate the social protocols of a world she knew only from glimpses? The practical questions almost overwhelmed her resolve until a surprising source of help emerged. Jennifer Blackwood, Max's science teacher, called again, this time with a different purpose. "Mrs. Wilson, I understand you've been invited to the scholarship gala. Max mentioned you were concerned about logistics." Donna felt a flash of embarrassment that her privations were so transparent even to her son's teacher. "It's a new environment for me," she admitted. "I want to represent Max well." "Of course," Jennifer replied warmly. "Actually, that's why I'm calling. Several of us teachers attend each year, and we usually prepare together. Perhaps you'd like to join us? We could help you navigate the evening." The kindness in the offer brought unexpected tears to Donna's eyes. "That would be... yes, thank you. I'd appreciate that very much." As she hung up the phone, Donna felt a curious lightening of her spirit. Perhaps, just perhaps, there were more allies in this new world than she had dared to hope. The gala still loomed as a daunting challenge, but now she faced it not entirely. Alone, what would the gala bring? Would Donna find her footing in this unfamiliar world of privilege and power? And why had Edward Thompson singled her out for this invitation? The answers await, with consequences that will ripple through both Donna and Max's lives in ways neither could anticipate. The night of the Lakeside Academy Gala arrived with a mix of spring rain and unseasonable warmth. Donna stood before the mirror in her apartment, hardly recognizing herself. Jennifer Blackwood had been more than helpful. She'd been transformative. After learning that Donna had nothing appropriate for such an event, Jennifer had arranged a lending closet among the female teachers, resulting in a midnight blue cocktail dress that fit Donna surprisingly well, along with simple but elegant accessories. "You look beautiful, Mom," Max said, watching her from the doorway in his pajamas, eyes wide with admiration. Donna smiled, touched by his sincerity. "Thank you, sweetheart. Mrs. Martinez will be here any minute to stay with you." "I still don't see why I can't come," he pouted. "Because it's a grown-up event that goes very late," she explained gently, "and because Mrs. Martinez has already promised to make your favorite cookies." This last point seemed to reconcile him to the situation. "Will you tell me everything when you get back?" "Every single detail," she promised, kneeling to hug him, careful not to wrinkle her borrowed finery. The taxi Jennifer had insisted on sending arrived precisely on time. As Donna made her way through the rainy Chicago streets, her stomach churned with anxiety. She had never attended anything remotely like this gala. What if she said the wrong thing, used the wrong fork, somehow revealed herself as the imposter she felt herself to be? The venue was a historic hotel in downtown Chicago, its marble-floored lobby crowded with elegantly dressed attendees. Donna hesitated at the entrance, momentarily paralyzed by self-doubt. Then she spotted Jennifer waving to her from across the room, her warm smile a beacon in unfamiliar waters. "You made it, and you look absolutely stunning," Jennifer greeted, her linking arms with easy familiarity. "Come meet the others." Jennifer introduced Donna to a small group of Lakeside teachers, all welcoming, all seemingly unbothered by her outsider status. They guided her through the initial social navigation with kindness, explaining discreetly who various important guests were, offering subtle cues about protocols and conversation topics. "The key is to remember that everyone here is just a person," advised Martin Reed, a history teacher with kind eyes and a quick wit. "Some have more money than others, but we all put our pants on one leg at a time." Donna was just beginning to relax when she spotted Edward Thompson across the room. He was engaged in conversation with several distinguished-looking men, commanding attention without apparent effort. As if sensing her gaze, he looked up, catching her eye. With a brief word to his companions, he made his way toward her. "Mrs. Wilson," he greeted her, his voice warm with approval. "I'm delighted you could join us tonight." Donna mustered her courage. "Thank you for the invitation, Mr. Thompson. It's a beautiful event." "Edward, please," he corrected gently. "And I have someone I'd like you to meet." He guided her toward an elderly woman seated at a nearby table, regal in bearing despite her advanced years. "Mrs. Wilson, may I present Mrs. Eleanor Hamilton? Eleanor is the chairperson of our scholarship committee and has been following Max's progress with great interest." "Mrs. Wilson," Eleanor said, extending a bejeweled hand, "please sit with me. Edward tells me your son has quite a remarkable mind." The next 30 minutes passed in conversation about Max, his adjustment to Lakeside, his academic interests, his recent science competition success. Eleanor's questions were incisive but kind, showing genuine interest rather than mere politeness. "You know," Eleanor said finally, "I've been overseeing Lakeside scholarships for nearly 3 decades. The students who truly thrive aren't necessarily the ones with the highest test scores. They're the ones with persistence, with creativity, with the courage to reach beyond what seems possible. Your son appears to have those qualities in abundance." "Thank you," Donna replied, deeply moved. "I've tried to teach him that his circumstances don't define his potential." "A lesson many privileged children never learn," Eleanor observed with a knowing smile. "Which brings me to a question, if you'll permit it. What are your own ambitions, Mrs. Wilson, beyond supporting your remarkable son?" The question caught Donna off guard. It had been so long since anyone had asked about her dreams, her goals. Survival had consumed her for years. I've always loved teaching," she said slowly. "Not just imparting information, but helping children discover their own capabilities. In my ideal world, I'd work in a school where that kind of teaching is valued, where education is about lighting fires rather than filling vessels." Eleanor nodded approvingly. "Beautifully put, and exactly the philosophy we strive for at Lakeside." Before Donna could respond, there was a gentle chime, signaling dinner. Edward appeared at their table, offering an arm to Eleanor. "I hope you'll save me a dance after dinner, Mrs. Wilson," he said with a smile that transformed his serious face. Dinner was an elaborate affair, 5 courses served with flawless precision. Donna found herself seated between Jennifer and a prominent surgeon whose son was in Max's class. To her surprise, conversation flowed easily. The surgeon, Dr. James Bennett, proved to be down-to-earth and genuinely interested in her perspective on education. "My son mentions Max often," he told her, "says he's the only kid who can explain math in a way that makes sense." Donna laughed. "Max loves breaking problems down to their essentials. He gets that from his father." "Was your husband a teacher as well?" "An engineer," she replied, the familiar pang of loss softened somewhat by pride. "He believed every problem had a solution, if you approached it methodically enough." "A wise man," Dr. Bennett commented. "His son is a credit to both of you." After dinner came dancing. A small orchestra played classic standards as couples took to the floor. Donna was content to watch until Edward appeared at her side. "I believe you promised me a dance," he said, extending his hand. "I believe you promised yourself a dance," she corrected with unexpected boldness. "But I accept nonetheless." On the dance floor, Edward proved to be an accomplished dancer, guiding her with confidence but without showiness. Up close, Donna noticed fine lines around his eyes, a slight thread of silver at his temples, humanizing details in a man who had seemed almost mythically powerful. "You're wondering why I invited you tonight," he said as they moved across the floor. "Among many other things," she admitted. "The simple answer? I wanted the Lakeside community to meet you, to see the woman who raised such an exceptional young man." "And the complex answer?" His smile acknowledged her perception. "That might take more than one dance to explain." As the music continued, Donna became aware of curious glances from other attendees. She was being noticed, evaluated, speculated about. But strangely, the scrutiny didn't unnerve her as it might have weeks earlier. Perhaps it was the confidence lent by the beautiful dress, or the kindness shown by Jennifer and the other teachers. Or perhaps it was simply the knowledge that she was there legitimately, invited by the very person who had transformed her son's future. The dance ended, and Edward led her from the floor just as Eleanor Hamilton approached, accompanied by a distinguished-looking man Donna recognized as Headmaster Phillips. "Mrs. Wilson," Eleanor said, "Headmaster Phillips and I have been having the most interesting conversation about the future of Lakeside's outreach program. We'd value your perspective." What followed was a surprisingly substantive discussion about educational access, the challenges faced by talented students from disadvantaged backgrounds, and potential approaches to identifying and supporting such students. Donna found herself speaking with passion and clarity, drawing on her years of experience at underfunded schools. "The problem isn't just financial," she explained. "It's cultural. Even when opportunities exist, students from certain backgrounds are often discouraged from pursuing them, sometimes by well-meaning people who think they're protecting children from disappointment." Headmaster Phillips nodded thoughtfully. "You speak from experience, I imagine. Both professional and personal," Donna acknowledged. The conversation continued for nearly an hour, expanding to include several board members who joined their group. Donna gradually realized she wasn't being treated as a curiosity or a token, but as a valuable contributor with unique insights. As the evening drew to a close, Edward found Donna again, offering to arrange transportation home. "I'd be happy to have my driver take you," he suggested. "Thank you, but Jennifer has already arranged a taxi," she replied. Then, gathering her courage, "Mr. Thompson, Edward, I need to ask you something directly." He raised an eyebrow, waiting. "Why Max? Why us? There must be thousands of bright children in Chicago who could benefit from such generosity. What made you choose my son?" Edward was quiet for a moment, considering. "Do you believe in pivotal moments, Mrs. Wilson? Instances where a single action can change the entire trajectory of a life?" "I suppose I do," she said cautiously. "When I was 10 years old, a teacher paid my entrance fee to a mathematics competition, $15 that my family couldn't spare. That small act led to a scholarship, which led to opportunities I would never have had otherwise." He paused, his expression distant with memory. "When I saw you and Max in that cafeteria, I recognized something. A moment hanging in the balance, a bright mind at a crossroads. So it was random chance, being in the right place at the right time. I prefer to think of it as recognition, one person seeing another's potential clearly." He smiled. "Besides, it wasn't entirely altruistic. Lakeside gains as much from students like Max as he gains from Lakeside." As Donna prepared to leave, Eleanor Hamilton approached one last time, pressing a card into her hand. "Call me next week," she said. "I believe we have more to discuss. About Lakeside's outreach program, we need perspectives like yours." The taxi ride home was a blur of emotions and revelations. Donna's mind raced with the conversations of the evening, with possibilities she had never dared to consider. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to think beyond immediate survival, beyond just getting through each day. When she arrived home, Mrs. Martinez reported that Max had stayed up as long as possible, but had finally fallen asleep an hour earlier. Donna found him in his bed, surrounded by books and papers. He'd been working on a new project while waiting for her. Carefully removing the papers and books, she tucked the blanket around him, studying his peaceful face in the dim light. "Oh, Max," she whispered, "I think our lives are about to change again." She had no idea how prophetic those words would prove to be. The Monday following the gala, Donna arrived at Lincoln Elementary with renewed purpose. The weekend had given her time to process the events of Friday night, to consider Eleanor Hamilton's parting words and what they might signify. She wasn't naive enough to expect immediate transformation in her circumstances, but for the first time in years, she felt something like hope for her own future, not just Max's. The feeling lasted precisely until third period, when Dr. Harris appeared at her classroom door. "Mrs. Wilson, my office, please. Ms. Parker will cover your class." Donna followed him down the hallway, aware of curious student eyes tracking their departure. In Dr. Harris's office, she found Gina Parker already seated, her expression a strange mixture of triumph and discomfort. "Please, sit," Dr. Harris instructed, his tone ominously formal. "Ms. Parker has brought something to my attention That requires immediate discussion. Gina avoided Donna's eyes as Dr. Harris continued. It seems you attended a rather exclusive event on Friday night, the Lakeside Academy fundraising gala, I believe? Donna nodded cautiously. Yes, I was invited as Max's parent. And you were? Seen by multiple attendees in what appeared to be an intimate conversation with Edward Thompson, one of Chicago's most prominent businessmen. Dancing even. Mr. Thompson is the benefactor who provided Max's scholarship, Donna explained, her voice steady despite the rising sense of threat. He introduced me to several people connected with Lakeside's scholarship program. Dr. Harris leaned forward, his expression grave. Mrs. Wilson, I've been extremely patient regarding the unusual circumstances surrounding your son's education, but when your personal associations begin to generate gossip that reflects poorly on Lincoln, elementary, I must intervene. Gossip? Donna repeated, a cold anger building in her chest. What exactly are you suggesting? Gina finally spoke, her voice artificially concerned. Donna, people are talking. Photos from the gala are circulating. You were seen with Thompson, looking very, he said, comfortable. Given the mysterious circumstances of Max's scholarship, it creates a certain impression. An impression that you and others seem determined to create regardless of the truth, Donna responded, her voice tight with controlled fury. I was invited to a school function as the parent of a scholarship student. I spoke with my son's benefactor and other school officials about educational opportunity. That's the beginning and end of it. Nevertheless, Dr. Harris interjected, the appearance of impropriety. There is no impropriety, Donna interrupted, her composure finally breaking. Only the toxic assumptions of people who cannot accept that my son earned his opportunity through merit, not through any arrangement you're all so eager to imagine. Dr. Harris's face hardened. Your emotional response only confirms my concerns about your professional judgment. I'm placing you on administrative leave, effective immediately pending review by the district. The world seemed to tilt beneath Donna. Administrative leave meant no pay, possibly for weeks. How would she cover rent, utilities, food? On what grounds? She managed to ask. Unprofessional conduct unbecoming a teacher, he replied smoothly. The documentation has already been submitted to district HR. Donna stood, gathering what dignity she could. This is unjust, and you know it. You're punishing me for accepting an opportunity for my son that you couldn't or wouldn't provide. You may clean out your classroom after school hours, Dr. Harris continued as if she hadn't spoken. We'll arrange a substitute for the remainder of the term. The rest of the day passed in a haze of shock and despair. Donna went through the motions of teaching, somehow maintaining her composure in front of her students. When the final bell rang, she remained at her desk, unable to face the task of packing up her classroom, unable to process what had just happened. Her phone buzzed with a text from Mrs. Martinez, who picked Max up from Lakeside on days when Donna taught late. Max, not feeling well, brought him home. Fever of 101. Called for Dr. App tomorrow. Perfect. Another expense she couldn't afford. But Max's health came first. Always. When Donna finally arrived home, she found Max on the sofa, flushed with fever, but still working, on homework despite Mrs. Martinez's protests. Mom, I have to finish this, he insisted weakly. We're presenting our history projects tomorrow. Health first, homework second, Donna said firmly, guiding him to bed despite his protests. You can miss one presentation. After ensuring Max was comfortable and had taken his medicine, Donna sat at their small kitchen table, calculator in hand, running numbers that stubbornly refused to add up. Without her paycheck, they had perhaps 2 weeks before they couldn't make rent. Her small savings would cover basic food and utilities for maybe a month. After that, she was so absorbed in her calculations that she almost missed the knock at the door. Thinking it might be Mrs. Martinez returning with the soup she'd promised to make, Donna opened it without checking first. Edward Thompson stood in the hallway, his expression grave. Mr. Thompson, she said, too surprised to maintain formality. How did you... Eleanor tried to call you, he explained. When she couldn't reach you, she asked me to check if everything was all right. Donna hesitated, torn between pride and desperation. "It's not a good time. Max is sick, and I know about Lincoln Elementary," he interrupted gently. "About the administrative leave. May I come in? Just for a moment." Too exhausted to argue, Donna stepped aside. Edward entered, taking in the small apartment with a quick, assessing glance that showed neither pity nor judgment. "How is Max?" he asked. "Fever, sore throat. Nothing serious, but he needs rest." Edward nodded. "And you, how are you holding up?" The simple question, asked with genuine concern, nearly broke her. "I've been better," she admitted. "Being placed on leave without pay is challenging." "It's unjust," Edward corrected, his voice hardening, "and potentially illegal. Eleanor has already spoken with Lakeside's legal counsel. They believe you have grounds for a complaint against Lincoln Elementary for creating a hostile work environment and discrimination." Donna sank into a chair, overwhelmed. "I can't afford a legal battle. I can barely afford next week's groceries, without my paycheck. That's why I'm here," Edward said, sitting across from her. "Eleanor and I have a proposition for you." He outlined a plan so unexpected that Donna initially thought she'd misunderstood. Lakeside Academy was expanding its scholarship program, creating an outreach position to identify promising students from underfunded schools. They wanted Donna to fill that role, to use her experience and insight to build bridges between Lakeside and communities typically excluded from elite educational opportunities. "The position comes with a significant salary increase from what you're making at Lincoln," Edward explained, "and it would begin immediately if you're interested." Donna stared at him, searching for the catch. "Why me? I'm not an administrator. I'm just a classroom teacher." "You're exactly what we need," he countered. "Someone who understands both worlds, who can speak to parents and children who might be suspicious of Lakeside's motives. Someone who's lived the transformation we're trying to create." Before Donna could respond, Max called weakly from the bedroom. She excused herself to check on him, finding him feverish and disoriented. "Mom, I thought I heard voices," he mumbled. "Just a visitor about work, sweetie. How are you feeling?" "Hot. And my project won't be done for tomorrow," he worried, even in his feverish state. "Your health is more important than any project," she assured him, adjusting his blankets. "Rest now, everything will look better in the morning." When she returned to the living room, Edward was standing by the window, gazing out at the Chicago skyline in the distance. "He's worried about a school project," Donna explained, "even with a fever of 101. Edward smiled. "Dedication runs in the family, it seems. Mr. Thompson." "Edward, please." "Edward," she amended. "This job offer is incredibly generous, but I need to understand something first. Why are you doing all this? The scholarship for Max, now this opportunity for me. What do you want in return?" It was the question that had haunted her since that first day in the cafeteria. No one in her experience gave so much without expecting something in return. Edward was quiet for a moment, considering his response. "When I was growing up on the South Side, my mother cleaned houses for wealthy families to keep us fed. One of those families had a son my age. His mother noticed I was good with numbers and arranged for me to take an aptitude test. That test led to a scholarship which changed everything for me." He paused, his expression distant with memory. "But my mother never got her chance. She spent her life cleaning other people's homes, watching me rise while she remained trapped by circumstance." He turned to face Donna fully. "What do I want in return? I want to create opportunities that didn't exist when I was young. I want to see talent recognized regardless of background. And yes, I want the satisfaction of knowing I've had a hand in making that happen. Is that selfish? Perhaps. But it's the truth." Donna studied him, searching for deception and finding none. "I need time to think about this," she said finally. "It's a lot to process." "Of course," he agreed, moving toward the door. "Take the weekend. Call Eleanor on Monday with your decision." He paused, hand on the doorknob. "And Donna, whatever you decide, Max's scholarship remains secure. That's not contingent on anything." After he left, Donna checked on Max again, relieved, to find him sleeping peacefully, his fever slightly reduced. She sank onto the edge of his bed, watching the gentle rise and fall of his chest, her mind racing with possibilities and fears. The job offer was extraordinary, a genuine opportunity to make a difference while securing their financial future. But accepting it meant entering further into Edward Thompson's world, becoming indebted to him in ways she couldn't fully anticipate. It meant leaving the familiar, however toxic it had become, for something entirely unknown. As she sat in the dimly lit bedroom, Donna realized that the decision before her was about more than employment. It was about trust, in herself, in the possibility of genuine altruism, in a future beyond mere survival. Could she take that leap of faith? Have you, or has someone you know, ever had to choose between security and opportunity? Share your thoughts in the comments below. By Sunday evening, Max's fever had broken, and with it Donna's indecision. Watching her son recover his strength, his immediate concern being the school project he'd missed presenting, Donna recognized the simple truth that had been before her all along. Her pride was not worth Max's future. If Edward Thompson and Eleanor Hamilton were offering a legitimate opportunity, and everything suggested they were, she would be foolish to reject it out of fear or suspicion. Monday morning, after seeing Max off to school, against his protests that he was well enough to go but she should stay home to rest, Donna called Eleanor Hamilton. "Mrs. Wilson," Eleanor greeted her warmly, "I've been hoping to hear from you." "I'd like to accept the position," Donna said, her voice steady with newfound resolve. "Assuming the details are as Edward described them." "Excellent. Can you come to Lakeside today? We can finalize everything and perhaps even introduce you to some key colleagues." The meeting at Lakeside unfolded with surprising efficiency. The position was even better than Edward had outlined: a competitive salary, benefits that included health insurance far superior to her district coverage, and a level of professional respect she'd almost forgotten could exist in educational settings. "We'd like you to start next Monday," Headmaster Phillips explained. "That gives you a week to close matters at Lincoln Elementary and prepare for the transition." Donna's one concern was how this might affect Max. Will it create awkwardness for him, having his mother working at his school? Eleanor shook her head. "You'll primarily be working with our outreach team, interfacing with other schools and community organizations. Your paths will rarely cross during the school day. But if you're concerned, we can certainly discuss alternative arrangements." "No, that makes sense," Donna agreed, relieved. "I just don't want to complicate things for him. He's adjusting, so..." Well, after signing the necessary paperwork, Donna was given a brief tour of what would be her new workspace, a small but well-appointed office in the administration building with a window overlooking the campus grounds. The physical manifestation of her new reality left her momentarily breathless. "Is everything all right, Mrs. Wilson?" Eleanor asked, noticing her reaction. "Yes," Donna assured her, blinking back unexpected tears. "It's just a lot to take in." Returning to Lincoln Elementary that afternoon to clean out her classroom felt like visiting a past life. The hallways that had once seemed so permanent, so defining, now felt temporary and insignificant. Dr. Harris was conspicuously absent, having arranged to be at a district meeting during her scheduled time. As Donna packed her teaching materials and personal items, several colleagues stopped by. Most offered awkward, perfunctory goodbyes, clearly uncomfortable with the circumstances of her departure, but a few expressed genuine regret. "You deserved better than this," said William Foster, a veteran math teacher who had always been civil if not exactly friendly. "What Harris did was wrong. We all know it." "Thank you," Donna replied, touched by his unexpected support. "That means a lot." Gina Parker appeared as Donna was loading the last box into her car, her expression an uneasy mixture of defiance and regret. "So it's true," Gina said. "You're leaving?" "Yes. I've accepted a position elsewhere." Gina's eyes widened. "At Lakeside? The rumors are right?" "The rumors are never right," Donna replied evenly. "But yes, I'll be working at Lakeside, developing their outreach program for underserved communities." A complex emotion crossed Gina's face. Envy, perhaps, or belated regret for her role in Donna's departure from Lincoln. "Well, congratulations, I suppose." "Thank you," Donna said, closing her car trunk with finality. "I wish you well, Gina." As she drove away from Lincoln Elementary for the last time, Donna felt a curious lightness. There was sadness, certainly. For relationships that had never had the chance to develop, for students she wouldn't see through to the end of the year. But overwhelming that sadness was a sense of liberation, of possibilities opening before her rather than closing. That evening, when Max returned from school, bubbling with news about his day, Donna sat him down for an important conversation. "I have some news, sweetie. I won't be teaching at Lincoln Elementary anymore." Max's face fell. "Because of me? Because of my scholarship?" "No," she assured him quickly. "Because I've been offered an amazing opportunity. I'm going to be working at Lakeside Academy, helping to find other kids like you who deserve chances they might not otherwise get." His expression transformed from worry to excitement. "You're going to work at my school? That's awesome. Wait till I tell Mrs. Blackwood and—" "Hold on," Donna interrupted gently. "I'll be working in a different building, and we probably won't see each other during the school day. This isn't about me checking up on you or intruding on your space." Max considered this. "So you won't be like popping into my classroom or anything embarrassing?" Donna laughed. "I promise. You'll barely know I'm there." "Then it's super cool," he decided, his enthusiasm restored. "Does this mean we can afford pizza tonight?" "I think we can manage that," Donna agreed, ruffling his hair. "And maybe even ice cream." The week that followed was a whirlwind of preparation and adjustment. Donna used some of her first paycheck advance to purchase appropriate professional attire for her new role. She studied Lakeside's existing outreach programs, preparing questions and ideas for her first official meetings. She even allowed herself the luxury of hiring professional movers to transfer their belongings to a slightly larger apartment closer to Lakeside, still modest by any standard, but a significant improvement over their previous home. Max approached the move with characteristic resilience, excited about his own room, tiny though it was, and the shorter commute to school. By Sunday evening, they were settled in their new space, surrounded by familiar possessions arranged in unfamiliar configurations. "It feels weird," Max commented as they ate dinner at their old table in its new location. "Good weird, but still weird." "I know what you mean," Donna agreed. "Changes, even good ones, take time to get used to." "Mom?" Max's voice turned serious. "Are we going to be okay now?" The question caught Donna off guard with its echoes of darker times, nights when Max, younger and more vulnerable, had asked the same thing as they faced eviction or utility shutoffs. "Yes, sweetheart," she said, reaching across the table to squeeze his hand. "We're going to be more than okay." Her first day at Lakeside dawned bright and clear, a perfect Chicago spring morning. Donna and Max traveled to school together, separating at the main gates with a quick hug and whispered good wishes. Watching him stride confidently toward his classroom building, Donna felt a surge of pride so intense it nearly overwhelmed her. Eleanor met Donna at the administration building, guiding her through introductions to key staff members. Everyone was welcoming, many expressing enthusiasm about the new outreach initiative she would be heading. By mid-morning, Donna found herself in a conference room with Eleanor, Edward, and several board members, discussing concrete plans for expanding Lakeside's scholarship program. "The traditional approach has been passive," Edward explained. "We wait for exceptional students to find us, usually through some serendipitous connection. What we're proposing is active identification and recruitment." "Exactly," Donna agreed. "There are brilliant children in every neighborhood in Chicago, but many lack the social capital to navigate elite educational pathways. Their parents may be working multiple jobs, may not speak English fluently, may not trust institutions based on historical experiences. We need to meet them where they are." The discussion flowed with an energy and purpose Donna had rarely experienced. In professional settings, her ideas were not just heard but built upon, expanded, incorporated into actionable plans. By lunchtime, they had outlined a pilot program targeting 3 underserved Chicago neighborhoods, with concrete strategies for community engagement and student identification. As the meeting concluded, Edward caught Donna's eye with an approving nod. "Impressive first morning," he commented. "Eleanor was right about you." "Thank you," Donna replied, still slightly dazed by how quickly things were moving. It feels right, like this is what I was meant to be doing. Eleanor overheard the exchange and smiled. That's exactly why we wanted you, Donna. You bring passion and personal understanding to this work that no amount of theoretical knowledge could replace. The remainder of the day was spent setting up her office, familiarizing herself with Lakeside systems, and beginning to draft outreach materials for the pilot program. When Donna finally checked the time, she was startled to realize it was nearly 5. The day had flown by without the bone-deep exhaustion that had characterized her teaching at Lincoln. As she packed up her things, there was a knock at her office door. Max stood there, backpack slung over one shoulder, grinning broadly. "Hey, Mum, I had chess club after school. Thought I'd see if you were ready to go home." "Perfect timing," she said, gathering her coat. "How was your day?" "Pretty good. We started a new unit on environmental science, and I got picked as team leader for our project." As they walked through the campus toward the bus stop, Donna marveled at the ease with which Max now navigated this once intimidating environment. He waved to classmates, exchanged greetings with teachers, moved with the confidence of someone who belonged. "You know what's weird?" Max said as they waited for the bus. "This morning, a bunch of kids came up and said congratulations about you working here, like it was some big deal." "Oh?" Donna tried to keep her tone casual. "What did you tell them?" He shrugged. "I just said you were smart, so it made sense they'd want to hire you." He looked up at her with a sudden grin. "And I said my mom's pretty awesome, so they're lucky to have you." Donna's heart swelled with love and pride. "Thank you, sweetheart, that's a lovely thing to say." "It's just the truth," he replied, with the simple directness of childhood. That night, as Donna prepared for bed in their new apartment, she found herself thinking of David. What would he make of all this? The scholarship, the new job, the transformed trajectory of their lives? She could almost hear his voice. "I always knew you were extraordinary, both of you." For the first time in years, the memory brought more comfort than pain. David wasn't here to share in their new beginning, but his influence remained. In Max's methodical mind, in the values they both held dear, in the foundation of love that had sustained them through their darkest hours. Donna drifted to sleep with a sense of peace she had almost forgotten could exist. Whatever challenges tomorrow might bring, they would face them from a position of strength, not desperation. And for tonight, that was enough. Spring bloomed fully across Chicago as April turned to May, transforming Lakeside Academy's campus into a showcase of carefully tended gardens and manicured lawns. For Donna, the physical beauty of her new workplace never ceased to amaze her, though she was increasingly aware of the privilege it represented. A privilege she was now dedicated to extending to more deserving students. In the 6 weeks since starting her position, Donna had thrown herself into developing the outreach program with characteristic determination. She had established connections with teachers and counselors at a dozen public schools, created informational materials designed to appeal to families unfamiliar with private education, and begun organizing the first Opportunity Fair to be held at a community center in one of Chicago's most underserved neighborhoods. The work was challenging, but deeply satisfying. For the first time in her career, Donna felt her ideas were not just heard but valued, her experience recognized as an asset rather than dismissed. Eleanor had proven to be both a supportive mentor and a formidable advocate, clearing bureaucratic hurdles with the efficiency of someone long accustomed to institutional navigation. Edward Thompson remained a more enigmatic presence. While he attended key planning meetings and provided crucial funding authorizations, he maintained a certain professional distance. Donna was both relieved and, if she were honest with herself, slightly disappointed by this. Their interactions were cordial but brief, focused entirely on the outreach program. Max, meanwhile, had flourished in ways that sometimes took Donna's breath away. His confidence grew daily, his natural intelligence nurtured by challenging coursework and encouraging teachers. He had formed solid friendships with several classmates, including, somewhat to Donna's surprise, Dr. Bennett's son, Tyler. The two boys had bonded over a shared love of astronomy, and could talk for hours about distant galaxies and black holes. On this particular Friday afternoon, Donna was working late, finalizing details for the inaugural opportunity fair scheduled for the following weekend. A knock at her office door interrupted her concentration. "Come in," she called, expecting perhaps Eleanor or one of the outreach assistants. Instead, Edward Thompson entered, looking slightly less polished than usual in shirt sleeves with the collar unbuttoned, his customary tie absent. "Working late, I see," he commented, gesturing to the papers spread across her desk. "Just finalizing the presenter schedule for the opportunity fair," Donna explained. "Everything needs to be perfect. For many of these families, this will be their first impression of Lakeside." Edward nodded approvingly. "That's exactly the attention to detail this program needs." He paused, seeming uncharacteristically hesitant. "I actually stopped by to invite you to dinner next Thursday. The Chicago Educational Access Coalition is hosting their annual fundraiser, and I think your perspective would be valuable. Several potential donors who might support our outreach program will be attending." Donna hesitated. The invitation was clearly professional in nature, yet Donna couldn't help but feel a flutter of unease. Her experience at the Lakeside Gala had been positive overall, but it had also led directly to her dismissal from Lincoln Elementary. Would accepting this invitation create new complications? "This is a professional request," Edward added, as if reading her thoughts. "Eleanor will be there, as will Headmaster Phillips and several board members. Your expertise in educational access would be genuinely valuable to the discussions." "In that case, I'd be happy to attend," Donna replied, making her decision. "Will there be a presentation, or is it more of a networking event?" "Primarily networking, though there will be a brief panel discussion on innovations in educational outreach. Actually, Eleanor suggested you might be willing to participate in that panel to discuss our new initiative." Donna blinked in surprise. "Me? On the panel?" "Who better? You've designed the program from the ground up, and you have first-hand experience with the barriers we're trying to overcome." He smiled briefly. "Besides, you're quite compelling when you speak about educational equity. People listen." Thank you. I'd be honored to participate." "Excellent. Eleanor will send you the details." Edward turned to leave, then paused at the door. "By the way, Max's science teacher mentioned his team won the Classroom Environmental Challenge. Impressive work." Donna smiled, warmth spreading through her chest at the mention of her son's achievement. "He's been working on that project for weeks, testing water samples from different Chicago neighborhoods, comparing contamination levels. He has his mother's dedication," Edward observed, "and her sense of justice, it seems." After he left, Donna sat back in her chair, momentarily abandoning her work. 6 months ago, she had been at her lowest point, hungry, desperate, seeing no way forward. Now she was being invited to speak at prestigious fundraisers, leading an innovative program, watching her son thrive in an environment she could never have provided on her own. The transformation was still disorienting at times. She occasionally found herself waiting for the other shoe to drop, for some revelation that would shatter this new reality. But as weeks passed with no such catastrophe, Donna was gradually learning to accept that perhaps, just perhaps, their good fortune was neither a mistake nor a trap, but simply a long overdue correction in life's balance. The following Thursday arrived with unexpected complications. Max woke with a mild stomach upset, nothing serious, but enough that Donna considered staying home with him. "Mom, I'm fine," he insisted, though his face was paler than usual. "Mrs. Martinez can check on me after school. You have that important dinner thing." "Your health is more important than any dinner," Donna replied, feeling his forehead for fever. "I'm not even that sick," he protested. "Just a little queasy. Please don't miss your thing because of me." After extracting a promise that he would call immediately if he felt worse, Donna reluctantly agreed to attend the fundraiser as planned. She arranged for Mrs. Martinez to stay with Max through the evening, prepared easily digestible foods, and left detailed instructions about medication, dosages if needed. The fundraiser was held at the Chicago Cultural Center, its magnificent Tiffany dome glowing with evening light as Donna arrived. She was greeted warmly by Eleanor, who introduced her to several key figures in Chicago's educational philanthropy, circles before the formal program began. "You're a natural at this," Eleanor commented as they moved between conversation groups. "These people have been trying to solve educational access problems for years with limited success. Your practical insights are refreshing to them." The panel discussion proceeded smoothly, with Donna finding her voice despite initial nervousness. When asked about Lakeside's new outreach initiative, she spoke with passionate clarity about the need to actively seek out talent in all communities, to recognize that potential wore many faces and spoke with many accents. "True educational equity isn't just about opening doors," she concluded. "It's about building bridges to those doors, creating maps for those who've been told certain paths aren't meant for them, and then walking alongside students and families as they navigate unfamiliar terrain." The response was overwhelmingly positive. After the formal program concluded, Donna found herself surrounded by attendees eager to continue the conversation, to hear more about her perspective and experience. It was nearly 10 o'clock when she finally had a moment to check her phone. 3 missed calls from Mrs. Martinez and a text message. "Max much worse. Fever 103. Called Dr. Nelson. He says emergency room if not better in 1 hour." Panic surged through Donna. She quickly located Eleanor to explain the situation, then hurried toward the exit, already calling for a taxi. "Donna, wait!" Edward's voice caught her as she reached the grand staircase. "Eleanor told me about Max. My driver is outside. He'll get you home much faster than waiting for a taxi." Gratitude washed over her. "Thank you. I'm sorry to leave abruptly." "Don't apologize. Your son comes first, always." He guided her quickly through the crowded foyer and out to where a black sedan waited at the curb. "Call if you need anything." "Anything at all?" The driver navigated Chicago's evening traffic with efficient expertise, getting Donna home in record time. She burst into the apartment to find Mrs. Martinez applying cool compresses to Max's forehead while he lay miserable and flushed on the sofa. "His fever spiked about an hour ago," Mrs. Martinez explained. "He's been vomiting too. Dr. Nelson said if the fever doesn't come down soon, he should go to the emergency room." Donna knelt beside her son, heart contracting at his evident misery. "Hey, sweetheart, I'm here now." "Mom," he mumbled, his eyes glassy with fever. "Sorry, ruined your big night." "You could never ruin anything," she assured him, stroking his damp hair back from his forehead. "How are you feeling?" "Really awful," he admitted, which told Donna more than anything how truly sick he was. Max typically downplayed illness or discomfort. After taking his temperature again and finding it still dangerously high despite medication, Donna made the decision to take him to the emergency room. As she was helping him into his shoes, her phone rang. Edward Thompson. "How is he?" Edward asked without preamble. "Not good. We're heading to the emergency room now." "Which hospital?" "Mercy General. It's closest." "I know the chief of pediatrics there. I'll call ahead." Before she could protest, he continued, "It's just a call, Donna, to make sure he's seen quickly. Nothing more." Donna's heart pounded as she cradled Max in the back seat of the black sedan, his feverish brow pressed against her trembling hand. Edward's call had come as a lifeline in the chaos of the evening, and now his quiet reassurance echoed in her mind. "It's just a call, Donna, to make sure he's seen quickly. Nothing more." Those words, meant to be practical, somehow carried a deeper promise, a silent commitment that someone cared enough to help them through this crisis. At Mercy General, the sterile white corridors and hushed urgency of the emergency room contrasted sharply with the warmth of home. Edward's call had accelerated their admission. The chief of pediatrics, a kindly man named Dr. Ramirez, met them at the entrance. "Mrs. Wilson, Mr. Wilson," he said gently as he led them to a treatment room. "We're going to take excellent care of Max." The genuine compassion in his eyes soothed Donna, even as she clutched Max's hand, feeling the rapid flutter of her own pulse. Max's condition was closely monitored, and while his temperature remained high, the initial treatment seemed to be working. Donna paced the waiting area, her mind swirling with worry and exhaustion. Every minute stretched interminably, and with each passing second, memories of past hardships, the relentless financial struggles, the harsh whispers of colleagues at Lincoln Elementary, the isolation, seemed to converge into one single moment of vulnerability. Yet amid that darkness she found a spark of determination. For years she had weathered storms that threatened to uproot her and Max, and now, faced with yet another trial, she clung to the hope that the kindness shown by strangers like Dr. Ramirez and Edward was the first sign of a new chapter. In the quiet hours that followed, Donna allowed herself to reflect on how far they had come. Just a few months ago, each day had been a desperate battle against despair. The scholarship for Max had seemed a lifeline in a sea of neglect, a beacon that not only opened the doors of Lakeside Academy, but also forced Donna to confront her own potential. That unexpected invitation to the gala had been a turning point, though it had come with its own set of challenges and sacrifices. Tonight, however, all those memories intermingled with the raw urgency of the present, a feverish child, an uncertain future, and a fragile hope that somehow things would get better. A nurse appeared at the doorway with reassuring news. "Mrs. Wilson, Max's temperature is finally coming down. We've started him on a regimen to steadily bring it back to normal." Relief flooded Donna in waves, and her hands, once clenched, in worry, now relaxed. She offered a shaky smile of gratitude. "Thank you," she murmured softly, her voice echoing both gratitude and the weight of all that they had endured. As the hours passed, Max drifted in and out of a light sleep, his small face finally showing signs of relief. Donna stayed by his side, her thoughts turning to the uncertain road ahead. Edward's presence, though intermittent and measured, had become a steady undercurrent in her life. His generosity, first in the form of a scholarship for Max, then as a mentor in the realm of educational outreach, had not been without cost, but it had opened doors that Donna had long thought permanently closed. Later that night, when the storm of the emergency had quieted and Max was resting more soundly, Donna finally allowed herself a moment of introspection. The recent turn of events at Lincoln Elementary, the demeaning administrative leave, the hurtful insinuations, the final painful goodbye, now seemed like relics of a past life. They had been obstacles that she was forced to overcome, not barriers to her dreams. Now, with a position at Lakeside Academy and a fresh mandate to bring opportunities to those who had been marginalized, her professional identity was being reborn. It was an identity forged not in the crucible of despair, but in the resilience of a woman determined to secure a better future for her son and, through him, for many other children like him. In the days that followed, Donna balanced hospital visits with preparations for her new role. Each morning she drove Max, now feeling stronger, to Lakeside, where he was greeted by friendly smiles and enthusiastic chatter about his projects and classes. At home she worked late into the night, refining outreach strategies, writing proposals and speaking with community leaders. The overwhelming pace of it all was taxing. Yet every time she caught a glimpse of Max's bright eyes or heard him excitedly recount a new idea from school, she felt a deep, abiding assurance that every sacrifice was worth it. Her new position demanded more than just administrative competence. It required empathy and the ability to bridge disparate worlds. Donna found herself visiting community centers, in neighborhoods she had once passed by without a second thought. She sat with parents in crowded living rooms, listening as they spoke of dreams deferred and opportunities denied. She organized small meetings in modest community halls, explaining the possibilities that Lakeside's outreach program could offer, if only given a chance. In those interactions, Donna saw reflections of her own struggles and the same spark of potential that she had recognized in Max all those years ago. Every shared smile, every word of thanks, reinforced her belief that change was not only possible, it was inevitable. One afternoon, while preparing materials for an upcoming community event, Donna received an unexpected visit from Edward at her temporary office. He had that same measured calm, his eyes warm with unspoken support. "Donna," he began, "I've been hearing wonderful things about your progress. The community is responding positively to your efforts, and I can see the transformation taking root." His words were simple, yet they carried the weight of validation for all the struggles she had faced. "I want you to know that your work is making a difference, not just for the children, but for the community as a whole." She smiled, feeling both humbled and energized. "I wouldn't be here if it weren't for your initial push. You saw something in Max and, inadvertently, in me as well." Edward's expression softened and he replied, "Sometimes it takes seeing beyond the immediate hardships to recognize the potential that lies beneath. And you, Donna, are exactly the person who can guide that potential to flourish." Their conversation was interrupted by the ringing of her phone, another call from a community organizer needing assistance with an upcoming workshop. In that moment, Donna realized that she had embraced a new reality. Gone were the days when every interaction was tinged with self-doubt and fear of judgment. Instead, she had stepped into a role where her voice mattered, where her experiences were not liabilities, but assets to be shared with those striving to break free from cycles of inequality. At home, as evening fell and Max completed his homework, with a newfound sense of purpose, Donna sat by the window and gazed out at the city lights of Chicago. The skyline, once a source of taunting reminder of her struggles, now shimmered with promise. Each light represented a possibility, a future that was within reach. In that quiet moment, Donna made a silent vow to herself and to her son. She would continue to fight for every opportunity, not just for them, but for every child who had ever been overlooked or underestimated. In the weeks and months that followed, the ripple effects of the new outreach program began to manifest in tangible ways. Families from underprivileged neighborhoods started to attend informational sessions. Talented students, who had once believed that a quality education was a distant dream, began to envision a future where they could excel. Donna's tireless efforts, supported by Edward's mentorship and Eleanor Hamilton's steadfast advocacy, gradually eroded the barriers that had long divided these communities from the world of privilege that Lakeside Academy represented. At a community event held in a modest recreation center, Donna stood before a group of hopeful parents and bright-eyed children. With a calm and assured voice, she explained how the program would work, providing tutoring, mentoring, and ultimately, scholarships that would open doors to elite educational institutions. The audience listened intently, and as applause broke out at the end of her talk, Donna felt a profound sense of purpose and accomplishment. This was the culmination of all the pain, the struggle, and the sacrifices, a concrete step toward a more equitable future. Max, now flourishing in his new environment, often recounted stories about his school days with the exuberance of a child who knew he belonged. His teachers, recognizing his leadership and potential, encouraged him to participate in student-led initiatives, and soon he found himself mentoring younger peers. Watching him, Donna felt both maternal pride and the bittersweet recognition that his future, though still uncertain, was being rewritten by the opportunities that had once seemed as distant as the stars he loved to study. Even as challenges persisted, financial constraints, lingering skepticism from those entrenched in the old order, Donna's resolve never wavered. With every obstacle overcome, she grew more confident in her ability to effect change. And though Edward remained a quiet yet ever-present figure in the background, his influence extended far beyond monetary support. He had instilled in her a belief that every setback could be transformed into a stepping stone toward a brighter future. On one cool spring evening, as Donna and Max sat on their small balcony overlooking a bustling Chicago street, Max leaned against her and whispered, "Mom, do you think things will always be hard?" Donna looked down at him, her eyes soft with love and determination. "There will always be challenges," she replied gently. "But remember, we have the power to change our story. We're not defined by our hardships. We're defined by what we do with them." Max nodded slowly, absorbing the weight of her words. In that moment, amidst the distant hum of city life and the quiet rustle of budding trees, Donna felt an overwhelming gratitude for the twists and turns that had brought them here. What had once seemed like random acts of kindness were, in fact, carefully woven threads in the fabric of their new beginning. In the end, the journey that had started in a nearly empty cafeteria on a rainy afternoon had transformed into a saga of resilience, hope, and renewal. Donna's leap of faith had not only salvaged her son's future, but had also ignited a change in the community, a promise that talent and determination could triumph over circumstance. And as she held Max close that night, Donna understood that while the past would always be a part of her, the future was theirs to create, one courageous step at a time. Congratulations. Type 9 in the comments so that I know you stayed until The end with me. Thank you for watching, and until tomorrow's story on this same channel.